The rope was already around her neck when Aria finally understood everything. Below the gallows, in a sea of jeering faces, one person was smiling. Her little sister, Miel. The gentle, beloved girl the whole capital adored had spent years building this exact moment, brick by brick, lie by lie, and Aria had handed her every single tool. The platform dropped, and then, impossibly, Aria opened her eyes 12 years in the past. A girl again, with the memory of her own death still raw in her throat. This time she knew exactly who her enemy was, and this time she would not be the one who hanged. To understand how Aria ended up with a rope around her neck, you have to go back to House Rosente, one of the great noble families of the empire. Aria was the eldest daughter, but she was never treated like one. Her mother had been a commoner, a courtesan, before the count married her, and the household never let Aria forget where she came from. The servants whispered it. The other nobles sneered it. And so Aria grew up beautiful, quiet, and starving for one simple thing, to be loved. That hunger made her easy to use. She trusted anyone who was kind to her because kindness was so rare in her life that she never once questioned its price, and no one was kinder to Aria than her half-sister. Miel was everything Aria had been told she could never be. Silver-haired, soft-spoken, the perfect picture of a noble daughter. In front of others, Miel adored her big sister, defended her, wept for her. The whole court called her an angel. But the moment the doors closed and the important eyes looked away, the angel's face went cold and empty, like a mask set down on a table. In her first life, Aria never saw the truth. It started so small that there was nothing to see. A rumor here, a letter that arrived in the wrong hands, a servant who suddenly would not meet her eyes. Aria blamed herself, the way she always did. She never noticed that every disaster in her life arrived just after Miel had been especially sweet to her. That every time her sister hugged her and called her dear, something in Aria's world was about to break. Then her mother died. And with her mother gone, Aria lost the only shield she had ever had. To a proud family obsessed with its name, the courtesan's daughter was no longer an inconvenience. She was a stain. And there was Miel, always close, whispering comfort with one hand while she pulled the threads with the other. Miel fed Aria's rivals exactly what they needed. Miel made sure the ugliest rumors reached the most powerful ears. When Aria was accused of theft she had not committed, of poisoning she knew nothing about, there was always just enough evidence to damn her, and never quite enough to save her. The girl crying the loudest at Aria's trial was the same girl who had written every line of the accusation. Aria was 21 years old when they led her up the gallows steps. She searched the crowd one last time, hoping, even then, that someone would speak for her. Instead, she found Miel, calm, patient, satisfied, the good daughter, finally free of her embarrassing sister. Aria died believing she had destroyed her own life through her own foolishness. She was wrong about that, and for reasons no one ever explained, the world gave her the chance to prove it. When Aria woke, she was 13 years old again. The same bedroom, the same morning light, the same little sister standing in the doorway with the same gentle smile that had once watched her die. But the girl looking back was not the same. Aria remembered everything. Every betrayal that had not happened yet. Every lie before it ever left Miel's lips. She knew the ending now. The only question left was whether she had the patience to rewrite it. Her first instinct was rage. To scream the truth in her sister's face, to tear that sweet mask off in front of the whole house. But Aria had already fought that war once, loudly, emotionally, predictably, and she had lost it on a gallows. So she did the hardest thing a betrayed person can do. She smiled back. If Miel wanted to play the perfect sister, then Aria would play it better. This time, she would beat Miel at the only game her sister had ever known. She started with herself. In her first life, she had been helpless. She could barely read. She knew nothing of money, of contracts, of the quiet machinery that actually ran the empire. So in secret, late at night, Aria taught herself. She learned letters, then numbers, then law. She studied the noble houses the way a general studies a battlefield because she already knew which of them would rise, which would fall in scandal, and which buried secret would one day be worth more than gold. Knowledge had failed to save her once only because she did not have it. Now she would have all of it. Then she reached for power Miel could never touch. Aria remembered a worthless stretch of land that everyone would laugh at, right up until the day it gave up a fortune in gold. Quietly, patiently, she made sure that land became hers. For the first time in either life, Aria had wealth of her own, influence of her own, a future that did not hang on a single person's smile. And with her own ground beneath her feet, she finally turned and looked directly at her sister. Now that she knew where to look, the mask was almost laughable. The way Miel's eyes went dead the instant no one important was watching. The way she set the servants against one another for her own amusement, then comforted the ones she had wounded. The way she practiced her tears in a mirror until they fell on command. Aria had spent an entire lifetime as this girl's prey. Now she watched her sister the way a hunter watches the thing it intends to kill, and she began closing the traps before they ever opened. A rumor that should have shattered Aria's name died in the dark because Aria reached the source first and bought their silence. A forged letter meant to frame her never arrived because Aria already held the original in her hand. Every time Miel reached for a weapon, she found her sister had been there before her, smiling, holding it. Miel could not understand it. Her schemes simply stopped working, and she had no idea why. But Aria did something far more dangerous than turning aside her sister's attacks. She started taking the things Miel wanted most. The crowned prince, the man Miel had spent her whole life dreaming of marrying, began to notice the wrong sister. Not the loud, sweet one in the center of the room. The quiet, clever one at its edge, the one whose eyes seemed to already know how the evening would end. The powerful houses that were meant to be Miel's stepping stones found themselves quietly indebted to Aria instead. One by one, Aria reached into her sister's future and took the pieces, until there was almost nothing left for Miel to climb. Miele felt the change long before she understood it. Her allies drifted. Her words lost their weight. The sister who used to flinch at her voice now held her gaze and refused to look away. For the first time in her life, the perfect daughter was the one who was afraid, and fear made her reckless. So Aria stopped defending, and she began to hunt. She did not expose Miel with a scream in a crowded ballroom. That was how a victim took revenge, and Aria was no longer a victim. She did it the way Miel had done it to her. Slowly, quietly, with evidence. She gathered every cruelty her sister had ever buried. The servants Miel had ruined for sport. The rivals she had poisoned. The forgeries, the bribes, the secrets hidden for years beneath that gentle smile. Aria let Miel keep climbing, let her believe she was winning right up to the very top, and then she calmly pulled out the floor. When the truth finally broke, it did not come from Aria's mouth at all. It came from Miel's own letters, Miel's own servants, Miel's own victims, every one of them arranged in perfect order by a sister who had learned patience in her own grave. The court that had once cheered for Aria's execution now sat in silence and watched the angel's mask shatter in real time. Everything Miel had built on lies came down in a single night. Her engagement, her name, her place in the family that had worshipped her. The good daughter became the monster in front of everyone, and this time there was no convenient sister left to take the blame. In her first life, Aria had stood on the gallows and watched Miel smile. In this one, the sisters simply traded places. But here is the part the story refuses to make simple. Aria got everything: her revenge, her power, her second chance at the life that had been stolen from her. She won completely. And yet the girl who had only ever wanted to be loved spent her entire second life learning to trust no one, to feel nothing she could not use, to become, in the end, just a little more like the sister she destroyed. She turned back time to escape Miel. And the question the story leaves you holding is whether she ever truly did. So tell me what you think. Did Aria earn every bit of her revenge? Or did surviving her sister cost her the one soft thing that made her worth saving in the first place? Drop your verdict in the comments. I read every single one, and if you made it all the way here, you already belong here. Follow Dark Manhwa recaps for more stories where the protagonist does not come back the same. New recap every Thursday.